is Gary. He is our Manny with Nannies on Call, and we're thrilled to have him here to sit down and just give a quick chat about what makes an extraordinary nanny. Now, Gary's been with us a year?
I think I just hit 2 years, in fact.
Oh, okay, sorry, 2 years. He's worked with over 64 different families, completed over 238 bookings to date. He does work full-time too, so he does Nanny on Call in his spare time. Never has Gary been late or actually been sick for booking, as I recall. So we just wanted to sit down. In addition to childcare, we find him extraordinary, and we just want to find out from you what makes you extraordinary.
I think it starts once you enter into their home. Once the door opens, I think it is showing up on time, definitely. And I always arrive at least 10 minutes because you never know when, what might happen. Like, there's so many different circumstances that may happen. So I always arrive 10 minutes, and I'd rather be in my car waiting for 5 minutes than a few minutes late. That's first thing. But once I open the door, I'm fully engaged. Like, I make sure I have everything on hand. I have my nanny bag, and I always change my items as well. That's one thing. But once the door opens, and if I see the little child, is a 3 or a 4-year-old, I acknowledge the parents, but I also get down on my knees and I acknowledge one-on-one with the kids already.
Oh,
that's one thing for sure.
Okay, well that's true. Gary, I noticed your feedback is that you are not only winning over the children, but the parents as well. And it's just as important at the bookings to make connection with the parents as well as the children. I think they go hand in hand. In order for the parents to leave and feel confident, they have to get a good sense from you. So can you just share some of the things that you do? Because I know you get extraordinary feedback from the families, just the types of things that you bring. You mentioned about ages.
Absolutely. When I'm preparing for a booking, I definitely keep an account of what, I prepare myself mentally of what activities might be suitable for the kids. So I prepare my nanny bag accordingly. And as well, if I know I'm going to have an 11-year-old boy, per se, like I actually get online, I Google some current shows or some pop culture information, so I'm prepared and armed what's cool and hip. But yeah, I think it's always being prepared mentally and physically, and for the family that you're engaged with.
Oh, great. And lastly, at the end of your bookings, how do you sort of recap the day or the evening that you spent with the children? Because at the end, when the parents come home, how do you normally end a booking?
I think that as important as the preparation and the actual booking, the engagement, I think the communication with parents is so key. Mm-hmm. And I really think that is where to represent yourself in a very professional manner. I actually use the sheet very thoroughly, and I give as much information in a concise and brief manner, and I actually walk through the sheet with them.
Oh wait, that's the facts for your family?
Yes, the facts for family, and I'm quite detailed on it, and I definitely spend a balance of, you know, these are the things that happen, and these might be some of the inside jokes as well that your kids had, and I always share some highlights that the kids had, like, you know, we did this activity and John was so excited that he found this new hiding spot or whatever it is, but I share that because I think that's really important, that the next morning when the kids wake up, that if the kids mention something, that the parents are on the same page.
Right. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Lastly, what is one tip that you can offer new nannies who've joined on call and who are meeting new families for the first time? Because it's a bit daunting meeting new families and coming into new situations. What's something you can offer them?
I'm going to say be yourself, but I think before you start as a new nanny, I would say look at your strengths and really focus on those, because there's so many tools as a nanny, but if you focus on what you know best and try to improve those areas, that will, I think, will separate yourself and improve yourself ultimately. And I'll give you an example. I had an interest in magic for years and years and years, but I knew that was a nice connection to kids because you can break the ice, and there's so many different things you can do with magic. And so that was a strength, and I just cultivated that more and more, and I use it as such a nice icebreaker, and I actually use it as a nice time for me to, if the kids' energies are really high, I'll say, oh, I have a surprise for you, but you guys have to have the room cleaned up, and you guys have to be seated for a minute, and then once then I can give you a surprise. So use your strengths. Like, find what you like and continue to build on those.
Oh, that's good advice. Well, thank you, Gary. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time for our tips.